Welcome everyone to KLVW and Carol Sees Changes. I'm Carol Hartman, and today we're going to talk about one of the significant changes in our community, our new community manager, Tom Hasko. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay. How long have you been here now? It seems like we had to postpone the show a couple times for storms.
Yes, well, actually, I'm coming up on my 2-month anniversary, so. Yeah.
Okay, so you're well seasoned at this point.
Yes.
When you were first introduced at a trustee meeting, you did run over a quick little survey of your background. Can you do that for our television viewers?
Sure. So, initially when I had my interview with the community, and the trustees, I basically said to them, there's probably no position that I've ever started that I felt more prepared for than to be a community manager here. When I look back at, my career, at a very early age, in my early 20s after college, I started my own company. I had some pretty large drywall companies. From there, I did a lot of commercial work as well as residential for a lot of the area builders. Then at that point, after probably about 30 years of being in business myself, I started to just venture out to other things. I worked as a lead carpenter for a large maintenance company. At that point, I went on to working for Midstate Heating and Cooling, where I was able to get degrees in home performance management and became the install manager for them. And then from there, I worked for Leisure Village here, which some people may not know. I was here for about 4.5 years, 10 years ago, as the building manager. And then once I left here, I worked for Brandywine Assisted Living as the environmental director right at the height of COVID. Oh. So there was a lot to learn.
There was a lot of difficulty during COVID.
Yeah. So that was, but it was a great learning experience as far as things that I hope to bring here to, our cleaning staff and stuff, as far as dwell times when it comes to, how to properly prepare for winter and stuff like that with certain chemicals, floor care, those particular items. And then from there, I was hired as the facilities manager for Taylor Management. I started out at Shadow Lake. And
Taylor Management is?
Taylor Management is a management company, very successful large management company in the state of New Jersey. They manage over 300 properties. Wow. They were most recently became, about 2 years ago, became a holding company of Associa, which is the largest management company in the country, for HOAs. Wow. So great company, had a great time there, a lot of good mentors, definitely a supportive staff when it came to the accounting of properties. I was tasked with, once I left Shadow Lake, I became the assistant manager at 60 Acres Reserves in Jackson. From there, I mentored under a gentleman, James Hanley, who was, who used to be the regional vice president out in Arizona for First Service Management. Once he left that property, I became the property manager for 60 Acres. From there, was tasked with, because of my facilities background, there was a position that was needed from Taylor to work at a high-rise in Mount Beach, the Admiralty.
Wow, that's sort of an interesting experience.
So it's something that, I was excited to add to my portfolio, and, I managed there, successfully for a good about a year and a half. And then Taylor needed me at another property at Evergreen Woods, which is a regular condo association, but, about 800 something units. And then I became a portfolio manager for Taylor, where I managed 4 properties, smaller properties, but higher end. One property was actually in transition from the developer. That was the Toll Brothers at the time. And then I was kind of knew about the position opening here at Leisure Village West, and I was excited to, partake here, and thought that I could bring back all that experience to this community.
It sounds like you did have a variety of experiences in your background that would really help this community, because we obviously have a lot of things going on here.
Yeah, I think, being able to work here in the beginning obviously gave me a good sense of a lot of the, some of the difficult things that might need to be addressed, and then obviously my experience away from here will really greatly benefit the community as far as just, managing multiple different properties, multiple different operational, things that can be, difficult at times for different properties, and just learning how to, adapt, which is something as managers we constantly have to do.
Well, there have been some changes since you came, and we will cover those.
Sure.
Actually, I was going to say that one of the things is that we now have 2 new other managers, one for grounds and one for maintenance.
Correct.
And does your background allow you to make it easier to find people or whatever? We've been waiting for a long time to have that.
Yeah, so initially, if you think about my 40-year career, between having my own businesses, I've always been constantly involved with hiring. And I do feel like I have a good hold on particular positions of the type of person that I would like to hire. Especially, I like to have them, aligned with my philosophy, the way I, especially when it comes to respect issue with residents, and just being able to, deal with some of the difficulties that we have as managers on a daily basis. It does require people skills. Which I hold pretty high, and I just wanted to know that I could create a team that when we have these difficult situations, that I have the right managers in place to be able to address them properly and and professionally.
Yeah, when you say have the right managers in place, it brings to mind the recent email that you sent out about reorganizing with assistant manager and other people to help you.
Sure. So primarily, properties such as these, the organizational chart, if you want to call it, is pretty simple. We have the board of trustees, we have an assistant community manager, you have an administrator, and then you have your departments. So here we would have recreation, building, grounds, and accounting. And it's pretty simple as far as dispersing the expectations for each manager and what needs to be done. There's, and that was something that definitely needed to be done so that I could obviously move forward in the way I see that, the community needs to move.
Well, one of the things that I was happy to hear from you was your emphasis on communication. And we certainly have experienced that through our snowstorms.
Yes. So for me, it's all definitely, I can't stress upon communication, especially, communication, right? So we have a large community here with, 3,800, 4,000 residents. And the more that information that I can get out to them, honestly, the less, well, first, I feel it's important, right? The community needs to know what's going on. And that includes everything, changes that are being made, projects that the board may be wanting to work on, even something as simple as, what day are you going to start cutting my lawn, or when is spring cleanup, when is, so the more information that I'm able to provide, the less challenging it is for the staff to receive phone calls, because you can only imagine the amount of phone calls that come in just for simple answers. So that's really part of the communication aspect of how I would like to go and move things forward. I know there's a lot of times there's a lot of misinformation, And I can't stress upon the community that, the information really needs to come from some sort of official communication from the community. And as well as, as a reminder, I've opened up myself to speak with residents between, 4 p.m. and 6 p.m.
That was one thing that I wanted to ask you about. How is that going, and have you learned anything from it?
For me, I don't even find it to be additional work for myself. I think it's been that enjoyable, honestly, listening to some of the difficulties that some people have, and even some of the positives that have come in. People, have stressed, they're, happy to see, they feel hope in the direction that the community is going in, and they see a sense of, a manager that, again, is providing that communication with them, and I think as long as I can continue to communicate in a very clear and concise manner and address a lot of the difficult issues that we have, there's no reason why we all as a community can't get through, the things that we need to get through.
Have you had any feedback from this meeting time with people?
Yes, multiple things. A lot of things that deal with operational aspects of things. Why certain things take so long. Different scenarios about lawns. I can only.
But there are certain things you can always check off that are going to be talked about. Lawns are the first.
Yes. Yeah. So and again. Basically, I just try to, on an individual basis, I kind of spell out, a game plan going forward, through emails that I'm going to provide to the community as we come into each season, and through the open meetings that we have, and through the newsletter and stuff. There'll be more additional communications based on seasonal aspect of things, and so hopefully the community is happy with those communications going forward. So,
can I ask you, is there anything that sort of took you by surprise when you came back to the village?
Well, for me, probably the biggest surprise was the changes in the operational aspects from when I was here. There was a lot of things that I put in place that were no longer in place anymore. And, we need to get back to those types of things as far as like inventory control, just the way we schedule people, just really even just time management things. And so right now I am working on a pretty big study with, as far as on the operational aspect of things, and really breaking it down to each position, as far as appliances, carpentry, painting, and really diving into the amount of hours that are needed, and some of the things that are, costing us a lot of non-working hours, to go into the day. So once I have that report complete and I review it with the board, I am going to present it to the community so that the community can understand clearly, where we're at, when it comes to the operational aspect of things.
Yeah, clearly we know that there are certain things that have to happen to be replaced, like siding and cedar shakes, and we've got all these programs in place to do that. And I'm constantly getting emails about, your house is over 50 years old, and it will, is there anything that we should be concerned about the interior?
So as far as the interior?
Well, whatever. I mean, if you've replaced your appliances and your AC and things like that, is there anything else that, they keep wanting, the town keeps sending it out, and I just don't know. I said, I've got the village. I'm not going to worry about it. But
so those are things that would refer to our master deed, okay? So which the master deed has different interpretations about some things as far as what we're responsible, what is defined as a unit and what is defined as a common, area. those are things that I'm reviewing, and I'm
Okay.
going to review with the board, because I do feel there may be some misinterpretation of some items. Over a 50-year period, you can understand that, what might be considered in the industry like neighborly back in the day somehow became policy, and we might have strayed away from certain things. But before I make any kind of announcement or anything with the residents,
well, you have
I
to-
need to do my research and have our counsels and attorneys review and the board and stuff like that. But these are all things that obviously as a community manager you need to become familiar with. And
So now that you have made some structural changes on the personnel end of things,
Right.
Would you say that this study has become a top priority for you?
Yes, so 100%. I mean, operational wise, we have a lot of challenges that are going on, and even talking to the staff, when we're talking about let's say just something as simple as gutter cleaning, I said, hey, in this community, can anybody ever tell me have all the gutters been actually cleaned in in a single year time? And nobody could really give me an answer. So, those are some of the operational things that, obviously I feel that the residents deserve, to have that done. But how do we get there, and how can we achieve that goal? So these
Gutters
are
is another huge issue.
correct. And we have a lot of different things going on in the community. We're upgrading the gutters as we do roofs. We have 4-inch gutters with some have gutter guards on them. Some of the gutters are old. Some of the gutters can't handle the water volume. But there's obviously needs to be a plan going forward, and because again, that's just a common maintenance item that needs to be taken care of, and we need to really address how we're going to move forward with that.
Since gutters, and I wasn't planning on going here, but they said they were getting wider gutters, and they weren't going to have any covers on them anymore because that would be better for the water flow and stuff. Do you have an opinion on that? I mean, we ruled out having gutter guards, I guess, at one point.
Yeah, I mean, the 6-inch gutters are becoming standard now throughout the industry, primarily because it is easier to, you have the additional water volume that they're able to hold, and, they are actually easier to clean out.
I was thinking about that. I've always
the
think
little
of the easy
4-inch
ways to clean.
Your hand is, so it does become, and even the volume of water sometimes and having the wider leader can possibly carry some leaves and some debris and actually dispel them, but again, you could have different opinions about, something like that with multiple different people. So,
of course. There's always different opinions about everything. So you just talk away, and you've taken away a lot of my concerns here. Let me ask you a question. Maybe you don't want to answer it. What about your personal interests? You have something besides just dealing with our problems?
I mean, personal side. Listen, I have 3 grown children.
Okay.
3 grandchildren.
There's a big job. 3
correct.
grandchildren.
In fact, my newest grandson was just born only 2 months ago. So as I get a little older, obviously those become. My family's always been a big priority for myself.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, my wife and I have been married. We'll be 30 years this November. So I take great pride in thinking, regardless of any successes I've had in business or anything like that, that becomes like my number one success story going forward.
That's wonderful.
So,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
See, it's nice to know you as a person too.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said, and I think, people are getting to know me, and that was one of the reasons why, I wanted to open myself up on, to, especially for, we still have a lot of residents that still work, and again, this was not even opened up to residents, but even to our staff and our employees, which, I've already probably had in 2 months 3 major meetings with the whole entire staff, talking about some of the.
Really?
Yes.
You know, I don't even think about that because we have our meeting rooms. Where do you meet with the entire staff?
Well, we meet down in the maintenance office. You know, it's not a very big room, but you know, we kind of make it work, and you know, we'll just it's like a big huddle. We'll have, you know, we'll kind of discuss, you know, some of the things, and I kind of made it clear that, you know, I'm here to support all of them. You know, I'm looking into the, you know, if there's added hours that are needed in certain areas, the way we, you know, input, you know, parts in the community, whatever I can do to make things more effective. And I can just give you a short, you know, one aspect of things that, you know, our employees really, you know, work 6.5 hours a day, okay, based on, you know, their lunches and stuff like that and breaks. So if you take that 6.5 hours and you start looking at the other things, there are other items that of non-working hours that go into that. Travel time,
Sure.
the time that they speak with residents, the time they need to document their work orders, maybe they need additional part, you know. So I can tell you, you know, that can almost add into 2 hours of a person's time going, you know, during the day, because our village is so large, and you know, we drive around in electric carts, and so it's important for those carts to be working properly, to, you know, to maximize the amount of time. And I've even discussed with the staff about, you know, possibly, you know, whether we, you know, going forward, you know, looking to possibly scheduling based on areas, okay, which can greatly improve our, you know, response time by like 30 or 40%, instead of having the staff run from one point of the village down to another point and back up and back and forth. So these are all probably getting way far ahead.
No, that's all right.
But
That's all right. It's nice to know that these things are being taken, you know,
these are
thought
things
about.
that, you know, I don't think anybody has really thought about. And so, you know, and it requires a really good study, you know what I mean?
Well, that, you know, that business of transporting back and forth,
Right.
is something that's always thought about me. I said, how do they plan what order they're going to be visiting people for a repair, like one particular
Right. So
person?
again, generally, like I said, we have a program down there that, you know, it's basically a dispatching program, and that was something that I put together when I was here, you know, back in as the building manager, and it actually allowed us to define the time span for each particular job, and as the employees hit, you know, close out that job goes away. There may be additional time that's added in throughout the day, so we can obviously slide an additional work order up there to try to maximize the time that the employees are, you know, or have during the day. But there's so many other factors that, you know, of operations that
So complicated.
we need to, you know, and again, it goes even with snow removal. The logistics of snow removal, I can't tell you, how
I have my own opinion on how things went.
Right. You know, how, you know, that needs to be improved and looked upon. So a lot of it is really the machinery, you know, the miles per hour for each machine, what type of machine we're using for what type of tasks, whether it's driveways, roads, sidewalks, all these things
Type
really
of snow
need to,
we have.
Yes, all these things need to really be looked at to really maximize our workforce and the way we handle these type of operations.
Well, I thought you did a great job in communicating, and I shouldn't drop this bombshell,
Right.
but you know, we've talked about it as neighbors. You always said that Willow is open for heat if
As
you
a
need
warming
it.
station, yes.
But how the heck do you get there?
Well, again, so that's, you know, I know some people may not know, but, you know, I actually live in the original Leisure Village, and I was a board member there for almost 5 of the 6 years that I've lived there. So one of the things that other communities do, or I've seen, is, you know, sometimes there's volunteers, you know, especially when it comes to moving your vehicles off the roads, okay? Some people are like, well, how do I get back to my house if I got to move, you know? So, you know, there's ways of doing things, you know, as far as if you needed to get to a warming center, then obviously you could call us. The one thing is that, you know, in a true emergency, if there was something such as that, residents have to realize that they can always call 911, and the police will always come and do
But
what
how
they need to do.
Well, just speaking from my own
Right.
personal experience, and I know others had the same situation, couldn't open the door, couldn't open the garage door because of the snow. This was unusual. I don't think I've been here a little over 10 years, and I've never seen this much snow. So
Is that what the first storm with the ice? Is that the reason why you couldn't open the garage?
No, both of them.
Right.
They went up over the door, and I couldn't push all the snow aside to get the door open
Right.
enough.
So with any operation, like I said, there has to be, has to be done in phases. So residents don't realize, they speak of how am I supposed to get out of my house?
Well, right.
The first thing that needs to happen is we need to make sure people can get to you. So that's why we need to clear the roadways and create emergency access to people's homes. Once that's done, okay, then we move on to phase 2, which would be obviously the driveways, because if we're able to do the driveways, then people still have a way of getting out of their homes.
Yeah.
Other than the single entries. Single entries are another aspect of the operations, and, that needs to be dealt separately.
Well, yes, and medical situations. And
Correct.
there are a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
it is an unusual situation and a very complicated
Right.
situation.
And remember, like you said, and this is probably the part that becomes difficult, out of any task such as that, there's always going to be someone that's got to be last, right?
Correct.
Because we can't obviously go to 2,692 homes all at the same time.
Correct.
So that becomes, an issue. So, but I think, like I said, through communicating with the community, going forward, letting them know how we're approaching these storms, just letting people realize that we can't go to individual homes based on requests when it comes to
right.
such as I have to go to work the next day.
Or I have a doctor's appointment or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even the doctor's appointment, we tried. We did make some efforts. For that. But again, in those types of major storms, most doctor's appointments are canceled.
Correct. Correct.
The thing is like I said, we have to be able to work in areas and phases. Otherwise, the whole operation becomes completely bogged down.
Oh, yeah, and more chaotic than it actually is to face the emergency.
Correct, yeah. And it becomes, so,
Yeah.
like I said, in the future, we'll be talking, more about the snow and the operations and how those things are going to be handled in task. And then, through the communication that I'll provide during the storm, people will know, hey, we're in phase 1, we're in phase 2, we're in phase 3, and they just have to be patient until we get,
Yeah, no, I wasn't planning on talking
Yeah.
about that, but I think we're far enough removed that people
Right.
are ready to move on to some other things like
Yeah.
lawns and gutters and
Yep.
things.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
10 years ago, it was fence or no fence,
Sure.
You said those wooden fences
I
and
remember
the
that, yes.
greenery.
I
and
was here then, yes.
I loved those wooden fences.
Yes.
I was so upset when they put a plastic thing in.
Right. But, yes, but again, it did save money based
yeah,
on
save
dollar-wise. And, so, every community has their challenges when
Right.
it comes to financial aspects of things and, how we move forward. And, I think the important thing is, like I said, we through communication, through the, our open meetings, we try to have those dialogues, right? And through emails such as myself, we'll continue to try to communicate. So that nothing ends up being a surprise on everybody. And I think when things are clearly communicated and the research is properly done and you can explain certain things, even though there could be some people that still may not, at least if you're giving the clear facts, maybe they can understand why you're making the change that you need to make.
Right,
So.
yeah. I really appreciate all the communications. Sometimes I say, oh no, another message, but it is important.
Yeah. Well, during the storm, it was important, because again, every time I would send something out, it was more or less, those were, you can only imagine the hundreds of phone calls that.
Oh yeah.
So it was really obviously done to inform everybody, but also, again, to allow those calls that might be more emergent, to proceed, as opposed to, the call, when is my driveway getting done, or when, those type of things or whatever. So again, those are important communications to.
Well, I have to say from personal experience that I've been pleased that it's so much easier to reach the maintenance department when you need to talk with them there. Before I used to call, and if I was caller number 16 or more, I would hang up the phone.
Sure.
But I get answered pretty quickly now.
Well, we're working on that. I mean, a lot of that, again, is training, although I'm sure the ladies, and the staff down there, they love to communicate with the residents, we should try to limit some of those communications only because, like I said, there's multiple people probably waiting behind.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, it's really just about the training aspect of things. I'm looking into trying to talk about, like, as far as the hours that the girls have down there, giving them some non-phone time, okay, because there's multiple tasks of things that they need to try to complete that have become an operational issue. So, but again, this will all be part of the operational aspect of things, and with each change, there will be improvements that will end up happening, and they will definitely be explained to the community going forward.
Well, I've been more than pleased recently. So. Do you have regular meetings with other community managers, or is?
Not regular meetings, but for me, I have a huge, a huge amount of people that I've
worked with. Yeah.
I've worked with. One of the things that was nice with working with a management company is that we had a group email. So if there was any questions, you could obviously just send one email out to 100 managers, and you could get a response back. But I still have those contacts going forward, so I'm able to get some additional questions if I have a question about something.
Okay. Well, we've covered a lot of things.
Right.
Is there anything you think I should ask you about, or you want to tell me?
No, just going forward. Now that we're past the snow issue, I do feel like
that's sort of like.
I probably
right there in the beginning,
right.
Wasn't it?
I probably lost a good month, really dealing with just snow. We're still just finishing up really the post-recovery part of the storm with all the trees that were down. I know that they're currently working on repairing all the lawns right now, starting this week and stuff. So going forward, we're just getting ready for the season and looking forward to Memorial Day coming up. And so getting all the amenities up and running, and and then again, look forward to my report as far as the operational aspect of things, and I look forward to continuing the communication with the community. So
great. Well, Tom, I want to thank you for taking the time to visit us today. It's been great to get to know you a little more.
Correct.
And I want to thank our community for watching and learning more about you too.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.